2020 CR 11967, State versus David Galvin Simes. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Duffy Pitlock for the state of Texas, Your Honor.
John Wilson for the defendant, Mr. Simes.
And are you Mr. Simes?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Simes, did you review the document entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yeah.
It's the document that tells you what you're being accused of not completing. All right, did you review that with your attorney?
Yes.
You gotta have to speak up.
Yes.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
Are you the same David Galvin Simes who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2020 CR 11967 for the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1 gram to 4 grams on January 19, 2021 for a period of 2 years? Is that you?
Yes.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Violation of condition number 2, on or about the 15th day of July, 2022 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, David Galvin Simes, did then and there consume alcoholic beverages in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead, true or not true?
Not true.
Violation of condition number 2, on or about the 22nd day of July, 2022 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, David Galvin Simes, did then and there illegally use a controlled substance, namely methamphetamines, in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that, true or not true?
Not true.
All right. State, do you have any witnesses?
We do, Your Honor. The state would like to call CSO Brian Leesman, last name spelled Leesman.
All right. Any objection to the witness appearing by Zoom, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Officer Leesman, if you can unmute for me, please. Could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Brian Leesman.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Howdy, Mr. Leesman. Who is your current employer?
It is Bexar County Adult Probation.
And how long have you been with adult probation in Bexar County?
18 years.
And is it regular practice for you to read conditions of probation or deferred in court?
Yes.
Did you read conditions in this case to the defendant, David Galvin Simes?
I believe that was done by intake, but I usually, when they come in the first time, I usually go over all the conditions with them again. So I know this case happened 2021. Let me see. I'm pretty sure. I know I'm pretty confident I went over all the conditions, but the intake should have gone over it with him when he did orientation.
So by the time defendant would have gotten to you, that would have been his second time hearing the conditions.
Yes, sir.
Speculation, Your Honor.
All right, that'll be overruled. You can answer the question.
Yes.
Do you have a date that those would have been read to the defendant, explained to him by you?
Let me go back in my chronos. It looks like let me see. Since this was such an old case, I kind of had to go back and look at everything. I know he had a motion to revoke issued early in the probation because I think it was for failure to report. So we didn't report for March and April of 2021, which is why I think there was a motion to revoke issued at that point. I can tell you when he did intake.
Would that be the day that he was granted probation?
See, I believe it was they were doing it over Zoom during that time because of COVID. So it looks like, yeah, January 21st of 2021.
That was the date that you went over the conditions with probationer, correct?
That's when it looks like he did his initial intake with Jonathan Trejo, one of the intake officers, and it's chronoed in here that he went over conditions with him at that point.
Is there a note in the chronos of you going over those conditions again subsequent to that intake date?
Let's see. Actually, yes. Actually, I saw him on, I guess he came in on the 26th of January, 2021. Let me see. Actually, I believe he reported by phone. That was during the COVID-19, so they weren't coming in. I did chrono that I said this CSO reminded the defendant of his conditions. We'll conduct a Zoom interview with the defendant next week.
Objection?
Objection.
All right, the court will take judicial notice of the defendant's conditions of probation.
Mr. Leesman, what signature or whose signature do you see on that document, probation officer wise?
I see Jonathan Trejo.
And what date do we have?
I see January 21st, 2021.
Do we see defendant's signature on that document?
Yes.
What does the signature made by probation officer Trejo mean?
It means, I can't vouch for him. Usually I would assume it would mean that you read and explained the conditions to them.
If you had been the officer reading those and then you signed it, is that what your signature would have meant?
Irrelevance, Your Honor.
Overruled.
You may answer the question, sir.
Yes.
Do you recognize the defendant here in court today?
Yes.
May you please describe the defendant by an article of clothing?
Wearing an orange jumpsuit.
Let the record reflect, probation officer has accurately identified the defendant. Now, today we have alleged two violations. The first violation, on or about the 15th day of July, 2022 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, David Galvin Simes, did then and there consume alcoholic beverages in violation of condition number 2. In your chronos, what do we know about that violation? Do you remember that violation?
Let me go back real quick. Yes, it was a violation of condition number 2.
And so please describe how we would come to getting this violation.
The defendant would have submitted to a drug test, urinalysis, and come back positive.
Is this at a facility?
Yes, it's either in our office or it could have been at the RMS downtown, recovering monitoring solutions.
And is this an appointment or would it have been random the day of?
This one I would have to see, but I know he was supposed to be taking weekly drug tests as ordered by the judge. So in this case, I believe he was just doing weeklies. And I'm pretty sure I ordered him probably maybe every Wednesday or Friday or something like that.
And on July 15th, 2022, what did defendant test positive for?
He tested positive for alcohol.
Is that a violation of his conditions?
Yes.
And how do we know that there was alcohol in that test?
It's what we get from the results for recovery monitoring solutions.
And is any detectable amount of alcohol a violation?
I believe so. Yes.
The second violation the state has alleged is another violation of condition number 2, on or about the 22nd day of July, 2022. In Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, David Galvin Simes, did then and there illegally use a controlled substance, namely methamphetamines, in violation of condition number 2. Do you remember this violation?
Yes.
How many days after the first violation did we get this second violation?
Approximately seven days.
And do you know if it was done at the same testing facility?
I would assume it was definitely done through recovery monitoring solutions, so through the same provider. Yes.
And what was it that defendant tested positive for on the 22nd day of July, 2022?
Methamphetamines.
Is that in violation of the conditions of his probation?
Yes.
And do you know if it was a blood or a urine test?
It was a urine test.
And how do we know that there was methamphetamines?
We received results from recovery monitoring solutions that confirmed positive for methamphetamine.
Your Honor, the state passes the witness.
All right, defense, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Leesman, just so I understand completely your testimony here. These records that you're reading about these violations, who input that into the chronology?
I have to see. I'm guessing it was me, but I know now. Okay, who filed the MTR? That was me.
Now, you've had a difficult time identifying the provider, whether it was in office or at the recovery contractor.
Yeah, recovery monitoring solutions is in our office. Like they conduct drug testing in our office. So basically there's different locations. There's a location downtown, and then they basically come to different offices around, our regionalized offices. So during certain days of the week. So every drug test has been through recovery monitoring solutions.
So within Mr. Sign's file, is there some type of a result from that test that is attached? Is it a slip? Is it a document of some type?
Go back. I don't have anything scanned in here. I would have to go. There's nothing scanned into my system as far as the actual results. But if I go to the recovery monitoring solution website, I might be able to find it. I think they reset their website though.
So you're basing the totality of your testimony today just based upon the chronology that's in the system in front of you. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
And you've said more than one response this morning, either I believe or I'm pretty sure. There's no amount of certainty to any of the answers you've been given, is there?
Like I said, this happened so long ago as far as the I'd have to go through everything um to see exactly what happened. Um I'm kind of trying to understand why this is being contested because I mean we're recommending terminate unsat, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean I guess you could say I'm still a little confused with everything,
All right,
but
so let me help with the communication. So probation can make whatever recommendation they want to make. Defense and state can make whatever recommendation they want to make, but this is a contract with the court. And so probation, you may recommend terminate unset, but the court may not do that.
okay.
So parties have decided to proceed with a contested hearing. So it's the defendant's right to have a contested hearing if he so chooses. So that's why we're here.
I got you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
State.
Your Honor, no further questions.
All right, is the witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you for appearing, Officer Leesman. All right, any other
Thank you.
witnesses state?
No further witnesses from the state.
Defense?
Your Honor, I'd call Mr. Sines.
All right, if you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
David Galvin Simes.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Sines, you were placed on probation for possession of a controlled substance.
Well, that took a turn. What began as a fairly standard revocation hearing in the case of State v. David Galvin Simes ended up shining a light on a few key challenges in the probation process, especially when the evidence gets a little fuzzy. Let's start with the basics. Mr. Sines was on deferred adjudication, stemming from a 2021 possession case, and now stood accused of violating condition No. 2 not once, but twice, first by testing positive for alcohol and then a week later for methamphetamine. Those are serious allegations, and the state brought in Probation Officer Brian Leesman to testify. Now, Officer Leesman did his best under the circumstances, but it quickly became clear that the passage of time and perhaps some gaps in record-keeping made this a bit murky. While he was confident in the violations, much of his testimony rested on the internal chronology notes, rather than hard documentation of the lab results. There were no scan test results in the system, and his recollections often started with "I believe" or "I'm pretty sure." Credit to the defense here, they poked at that uncertainty just enough to raise some eyebrows, questioning everything from how the tests were conducted to where they were conducted, and even who entered what in the record. Still, let's not miss the big picture. Even Officer Leesman admitted he was a little confused as to why the hearing was being contested at all, especially given that probation was recommending terminate and unset. But as Judge Boyd pointed out, recommendations are one thing, rulings are another. The court has the final say, and Mr. Sines had the right to this contested hearing, even if the outcome seemed largely procedural. One thing that did stand out was how Judge Boyd kept everything grounded. She let the hearing unfold, gave room for both sides to speak, but never lost track of who was ultimately in charge. Her study guidance reminded everyone that a courtroom isn't just a place for paperwork and procedure, it's where decisions with real human consequences are made. So while this one might not have ended in a dramatic verdict or courtroom twist, it was a good reminder of how thin the line can be between clarity and confusion, especially when the paperwork doesn't quite keep up with the process. If you found this hearing insightful, consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and letting me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one,